Imperfect action always tops perfect intent. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean is, one, there are so many great ideas out there, and you probably have bunches of great ideas. But the idea of leadership, of leading, bringing others along as someone who's been there before, you have to have been there before in order to bring them along as having been there before. That's where sometimes we can get in our own way of really trying to make the idea as perfect as possible before we start to execute on it. And what I've found, and what I've heard from other highly successful people, is that you take that action when you've got good enough of a plan to get started. You're never going to have it perfectly figured out in the very first step anyways. So you've got to start taking action on something that's at least thought out enough. You've gotten some feedback. You're on the right track. Because the path from point A to point Z is never a straight line. It's going to make changes and things are going to come up, and you've got to shift and adapt and be flexible. So the idea that you can have a perfect plan is impossible. And that can prevent sometimes people from taking those next best steps that start developing those leadership qualities that you need in order to be able to lead others. So just remember, it doesn't have to be a perfect plan to get started. It just needs to be a well thought out plan. It needs to be a good one. It needs to be a sound plan. And that's where, when you talk with others that you respect and say, am I on the right track here? And they say, yes, that's good. Get started. Start figuring things out. Because you talk to anybody, it's a process. It's going to take time. And it's never going to be exactly how you think it's going to be. So you've got to start that journey before you know more than the next best step. Taking that next best step is one of the very best things you can do when you are developing self-leadership, because you got to lead yourself first before you can lead others. So just remember that. Imperfect action always tops a perfect plan. I'll see you next time.